Hello, welcome back. Today we're going to start adding a patrolling enemy to our game. So in order to start off, we're going to add a patrolling enemy as a sprite. So I'm going to insert a new object, and it is going to be a sprite. And I'm going to go ahead and name it enemy. Clicking here, that's where I'll load it. And you could choose to draw your enemy if you like. I'm going to go ahead and load frames. And I have got an enemy that I've designed here. Okay, there he is. And I can go ahead, let's resize it. I do want him to be 32 by 32. So while I'm at it, I'm just going to rename this animation walk. I do want that animation to loop while he's walking, and let's preview that. There he goes. Happy little bad guy. Okay, so now I have an enemy in the game. I'm going to go ahead and push play to see how he looks. Okay, there he goes. Except he's just kind of standing there. So I would like this enemy to have a similar behavior to me. So he should be able to interact with the ground and should be able to walk around. So I'm going to go ahead and add a behavior, and I'm going to make that the platform behavior. So now if I push play, you see there he is, and if I move myself to the right, well, nothing happens to him because I switched my controls to be WASD. But I can now control the enemy with the arrow keys and the up key, which would kind of be a weird game if you could control the enemy. So I want the enemy to have a platform behavior, but I don't want it to be something that I can control. So in order to turn off the controls, I have the enemy here, and I'm going to go down here and I'm going to turn off the default controls. So now what I want to have happen is let's make the enemy move right and left. In the event sheet, I can start adding events to make the enemy move. And what I want to do is add an instance variable to this enemy called isMovingRight. So at the beginning, the enemy is going to be moving right. So over here, I have the spot where I can add an instance variable. I'm going to say that I want a variable called isMovingRight. And this is a Boolean variable. Remember, Boolean means it's true or false, and initially it is true, so I'm going to check that. Now, on my event sheet, this is starting to get a little complicated, so I'm going to add a comment. Enemy movement. And that's just there for my own reference. So the enemy, I want to check for a Boolean variable. If the enemy is moving right, then enemy, I want to simulate control pressing right. So now if I push play, the enemy's going to move right all on their own. However, they do go off of the screen, and I don't want them just running off the screen like that. So what I want them to do is make it to the edge right here and then turn around and go the opposite direction. So an easy way to do that is I'm going to create an invisible sprite, and I'm going to call it the edge detector. It's going to go right there, and right now I'm not going to draw anything in here at all. It's just going to be an invisible sprite. And then I'm going to shrink it down so I have this invisible sprite that's going to go right there. And then let me get another one. See, I've got the edge detector here. I can put another one here at the other edge. And what I want to say is I've got this Boolean variable called isMovingRight, and every time the sprite hits one of these edge detectors, I want it to switch. So it'll go from true to false. So I'm going to add on here, if the enemy, check the Boolean. If the Boolean is moving right, but I'm going to invert that. So if moving right is false, then enemy simulate going to the left. Now, I want to say that if the enemy is on collision with the edge detector, then enemy toggle the Boolean. And remember, toggle means switch it. So when we start off with true, if we toggle it, it's going to go to false. And then if it goes, if it's false and it collides with the edge detector, it's going to turn to true. Okay, so if moving right is true, go right. If moving right is false, go left. And if you collide with an edge detector, toggle moving is moving right. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, there he goes. Now, we have this patrolling movement. Two things I don't like about this. One, he's going really fast. Two, he's not turning around. He's kind of moonwalking there. So let's adjust that. On my enemy here, I'm going to change the max speed to 100. And then on isMovingRight, I'm going to say, let's set the mirrored. When they're moving right, it should not be mirrored. But when they're moving left, they should be mirrored. And that should take care of both of those issues. There we go. We've got a nice patrolling enemy. Now from there, we can instantiate more of these, and we should get the same effect. So if I wanted to put another enemy here, I would just have to put more edge detectors here. And this guy's not going to have nearly enough room. But there we go. And now I can start adding enemies to my level.